Welcome back to the Compound Podcast. It's episode 141, brought to you by Parse Rum, my favorite rum, Dakota's favorite rum.
It is true. It's a fact.
If you buy a bottle, you plant a tree in Colombia. We're all saving the earth by drinking Parse Rum, Binny Specs, Total Wine. Go find it near you. We're starting this episode. I get a couple of guys who are upset about something, but I don't know what it is.
Who's upset? I'm not upset.
No.
We're not mad. We're disappointed.
Confused and a little disappointed, that's all.
Because there's this big trip that Ian and his big league buddies took. A couple big leaguers. Not us minor leagues, not us peasants. Him and a couple big leaguers go out to Napa Valley. Have a nice little trip. Zach, I have a question for you. Did you, by chance, get an invite to that trip? You have a significant other, as did the rest. I'm okay with not going. I'm more hurt for Zach.
No. I'm not concerned about that whatsoever because Napa doesn't really do it for me. You know, I'm sure it looks nice. I'm sure the pictures look great. But the fact that it just was never even brought up in like conversation.
He was hiding it from us. That's I feel betrayed. I feel like he was trying to hide it.
And then the thing is, like the night before, I'm like, "Oh, Hap, where are you right now, Austin?" He goes, "Yeah, I've been all over the place," and then nothing.
Crickets.
It's just kind of like that's weird. And then Scott, and he goes, "No, why would I say anything?" Well, I don't know. Sounds like a pretty cool trip. Just boys chopping it up. That's all.
And the funniest part about Scott is he said, "I didn't say anything because I knew I'd get shit." So all we did all weekend was give him shit because he didn't tell us. So all weekend, I refused. Like he would text in our group text, and we're like, "Who's this 330 number? Who is this guy?" Like we would pretend like we didn't know him. He's with Shun.
Again,
Shun, reshun.
It's just more of like just a little confusion. That's all. Like I thought it would be cool. Like, hey, Dakota, like I'm going to California next week. Sounds fun. Oh, who are you going with? Oh, me, Hap, Nico, Scott. We're all going with our girlfriends, our wives, fiancés. Like, yeah, it'll be fun.
It was just sad to see. It really was. It is what it is. We're not that close with Ian as the big leaguers because we're down here, they're up here, and that's okay. It is what it is.
They weren't selling any eggnog there, so I didn't think that you would have a good time.
Don't you try to bring eggnog into this, you sick freak.
Sick. It's just gross.
You guys big wine guys that I didn't know about? You guys been drinking a lot of wine recently?
I like wine. We like wine, Ian. That you
see. This is Ian, just perfect.
Here's how I know you're full of shit because we drank wine when we lived together.
We did.
You know that.
We did. We drank great wine.
Watching Entourage.
And those days meant nothing to you.
You know what it was? It was just a PR grab because he knew this would come from it. Well, PR and money grab.
And he knew the clicks it would get, like, oh, Ian Happ out with Nico Horner and Yankees reliever Scott Efros. Like, it is what it is.
Man, God forbid you guys will match up in the World Series. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, we had a great time. It was a great trip. We had a blast.
Multiple times I texted Scott and I said, I hope you choke on your wine.
Jesus.
Multiple
You're just
times.
wearing him out, huh? You're just wearing Scott out the whole time?
I didn't care. I texted him today and like we have like a group text. We'll just text like someone's first name to get their attention. Today I just texted douche and then I put like, shit, autocorrect Scott asterisk. It's not over. It's never like I'm not going to let this go for a little while. That's how I am.
Can I tell you the worst part is I actually knew about the trip.
That's
because we had to stay late one time to talk about something after a show, Ian and I, and Scott and he spent a lot of time talking about details of the trip. So I thought you guys knew.
This is all adding up, Dakota.
Mm-hmm. This is
it's all making
it was
sense.
Definitely the fact that he told Tom makes it seem even more like it was like not like a secret, but like
I will say I don't think he told me. I think I was present for conversations about it. That's all. But I knew of its existence.
But they didn't want the peasants to know, is what I'm hearing. It was more.
And the best part, Dakota, in our group with Scott, he didn't say anything. He just kept alluding to the rain that was happening in California to Mark, and we were like, and Mark was like, "Why do you keep asking about this? Like, he goes, "You coming to California anytime soon?" He goes, "Oh yeah, I'm actually coming out to Napa."
It's just, it is what it is. It's over. I'm hoping we can move past it. I'm just going to be hurt for a little while.
Hoping,
Can we talk about Zach? You have a golf event coming up.
Oh, I told you about that.
How's your game? Where you at? Are you excited? You were sending some photos of
I'm
your
excited.
numbers on the monitor.
Ian's so over us making fun of him right now. Okay. Yes. Continue, Zach. Sorry.
No, I'm excited. Haven't been out there before. So we'll see. I got to get dialed in the next week or so.
Well, 2 weeks ago, Ian, he texts us. He goes, "Oh yeah, that golf thing's coming up. I should probably hit some balls." He
Dude,
hadn't swung a golf club in weeks. I'm like, "Are you an idiot?"
No, because I'm just gonna fight myself because it doesn't I'm not gonna feel where I'm gonna feel off of grass. Like hitting off a mat is horrible and it's gonna feel weird.
Can you remind me of the format, please?
I think hang on. There's 3 rounds. It's at Pebble, Spyglass, and Spanish Bay.
Tough trip. Tom,
Yeah,
Tommy's grinding it out, man.
That
We
sounds
actually
horrible.
we're both, for the listener, we are both playing in a separate golf events the same week. So I'm going to be in Orlando, Florida, playing in a 4-day deal with the LPGA, kind of in conjunction with the LPGA event. So we both have big golf weeks coming up.
What's Zach's event? I knew about yours. I've not heard about this. This sounds pretty great.
Yeah, it's called the Winter Series, the Players Cup 2023. And I've been invited the last few years by a friend, and I've always panicked. And last year I had plans already. And this year he called me kind of early and I was like, you know what? I'll do it. I'm in, whatever. So they're flying me, my girlfriend out there for the weekend.
And
like I said,
and your caddy.
And my caddy, yeah. Like I said, I haven't not been out there before, so I'm excited. 54 holes. There's one, I think, best ball, gross, and net. I want to say that's hang on. I got an email about it the other day.
I can't wait to hear. I hope you get great weather out there, which is pretty hit or miss, but at this time of year. But I hope you get great weather because it's the most amazing.
Yeah, it's just best ball, and then there's a gross and a net division. So we'll see. And then there's a bunch of skins games too, which is cool. But that's going to be really hard to.
So this is the last big event of your off season before you super ramp it up.
Yeah.
Should we talk about this point in the off season and what things start to look like?
Yeah. And that was kind of a big reason why I never really wanted to go. Because I was like, oh, it's so late in the off season, but this is kind of like a once in a lifetime, except getting invited to it more than once, but it's
You say once in a lifetime, but I've been invited 5 times.
Except I get invited every year.
Yeah.
You're an
But
idiot.
just to play out there in general, I couldn't really say no. But I have before, but this year I couldn't say no.
What is going on right now?
Zach just twice contradicted himself. He said,
No, because it's just so late in the offseason where I'm like, dude, you can't go. And then this year I was like, he called me early enough. I don't have any plans. I was like, you know what? Bite the bullet. You're going to go.
This guy's a walking
Bite the bullet.
contradiction.
Oh, you poor thing that you have to go. I'm so sorry.
I
Wish you didn't have to.
This is my last. Same thing. My last trip of the off season, last thing, obviously throughout the off season, you work out and you do your stuff and you're getting the body right and whatever phase you're in of your workout cycle. And then, so I get back on the 22nd and then and then I'm super ramp up into camp, kind of get there around Valentine's Day ish for camp to start. I think report date's 18th or something close to that. So where are you guys in the off season cycle? Dakota, I want to hear where you are with throwing. How does that, when do you start to throw pens? Do you throw long toss? Where you at?
I threw my first pen last week, and I'll probably throw 2 more this week. And maybe it's a different year for me because it's more of a, who knows? Maybe I go play, maybe me no play. So we'll have to wait and see. But I'm just treating it as I'll be ready. Hopefully I get signed. But yeah, I'm in bullpens now. I've been working out like all off season, obviously, but
Is that two or 3 times a week on the pens? Is that what it looks like?
two tops.
And that's how many pitches is a pen for you? 20?
Like my
That's a
first bullpen I threw last week was like 12. And then I'm also a reliever, so I don't need to build up to more than, so I'll throw like 30 sometimes if I'm working on stuff, but yeah, like 2 a week at 15, 20 usually. And by I'd say my first 2 or 3 are pretty light effort. And then like my 4th and 5th are more letting it go.
Yeah. And it's interesting because like for you,
Mm-hmm.
like there is a ramp up period during spring training, but like you kind of have to be ready to go, because if you have to throw in that first game, like it's all an audition. So like you have to be ready to let it eat for that 1 inning, whatever it looks like.
For sure. And it's different for starters, like a guy I train with, starting pitcher. It's a lot different for them because they have to be ready, not for like a full 5, but I think starters usually go in 2 or 3 innings, so they're built up a little more. They throw a few more bullpens, but being more of a 1 inning, 2 inning guy, like as long as I go in good to throw 20 pitches, like that's usually fine.
Yeah. Anything specific you're working on this offseason or have been working on? Like, are you focusing on heater changeup? Are you thinking about the slider? Are you throwing a 1-seam slider these days?
No, I mean, slider's always something I work on every off season. I did throw 1 changeup. I usually just throw all fastballs my first bullpen, and I signaled changeup, and I was like, this changeup's probably going to stink, but I'm going to throw it anyway. And I said, you know what? No, it's not, Dakota. It's going to be good. Some positive self-talk. And it was gross. And I was like, well, she's still there. I still got it. She didn't leave me.
Do you throw with the TrackMan every time?
No, we have like Rapsodo, but
that's what I meant. Yeah.
Not the first couple. The first couple aren't even worth it because it's literally like 80% effort, like just kind of feeling the mound again. And I was still sore the next day after throwing 12 pitches. So
as a pitcher, the guys that I see who work out at the same place I do, like they're always looking at it and stuff. Can you manipulate? All right. So say like you throw a really good heater once, it feels good. And say the vert is at like 18 or 19.
Mm-hmm.
And then you throw a shitty one at like 15 or 16. Can you try to like manipulate something on, or like, hey, I remember what I did really well on that one to get better numbers. Hey, my horizontal was really good on that one opposed to my vertical. Like, what did that look like to you? And then you're checking the iPad. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, can you manipulate little things like that, like vert and horizontal movement? Or is it more of just, hey, that's your style of throwing and that's kind of what works?
Are you talking fastball or off speed?
Both. Whatever. So say you're trying to throw a slider. You're like, hey, I'm going to try to get more horizontal on this one and less vert.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's something you can kind of feel it coming off. Like there are times, like, especially with sliders, like I'll feel like, oh, I got around that one. Like it might've been more horizontal, but it was just kind of straight across. And sometimes it'd be like, I got more on top of it. That was kind of up and down. Fastball, I think, is the biggest one for me, is like the 4-seam. Like if you get on the side of it or inside of it, you can't really see it tailing off. You know what I mean? Like with the vertical break.
Yeah.
But seeing the numbers and being like, oh, that one had 16 vert break versus 18, 19, like get a little bit more behind it. I think that's the biggest benefit I get from that stuff.
That's so nice as a pitcher, because you can see right away, like, hey, I'm staying behind this one, or I'm keeping my wrist more tucked or vertical, like whatever.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, that's significant information I just received in 2 seconds. It's like hitting, you can nut one and it's just like, that was really bad mechanics, but I just launched one anyway.
Still hammered
like
it,
if I make a bunch of those moves, like I don't know if it's good or bad, kind of, like you can compare, but.
Well, what's nice about the place I work out at too, the guy has like a TV next to the mound and he films pretty much every pitch. So like,
yeah,
if you throw one and like, say it's a shitty slider, be like, hey, look at the TV, and like, you'll see your mechanics even and be like, oh, that's what I did wrong. So it's nice to kind of get instant feedback of what to fix for the next pitch.
Is your camera on a delay too, where you throw it and then it's like comes up three seconds later?
It's not like the high speed one. It's just like a normal, like filming camera. Like, you know what I mean? Like just normal, like you're watching TV basically. Yeah. But no, it's not like delayed, like he takes the video and then he puts it up there. Like it's pretty quick.
Got it.
Zach, where you at in your off season?
Yeah, I'm definitely ramping up more. I mean, I've kind of done the same thing hitting, but I've hit a lot more the last 3 weeks or so. Like I said, like once kind of Christmas is around, it's kind of like a lights go on. It's like, oh shit, this is, when you get home in October, you're like, oh my God, feet up. I got all the time in the world. And you look up and it's Thanksgiving. Like, all right, still here. And then once Christmas happens and New Year's, you're like, oh fuck, here we go. But it's the same thing every offseason. I'm definitely doing more fielding and throwing wise this offseason. I didn't take as much time off from throwing. I wanted to see how would my arm would react. And I feel a lot better throwing because usually, like we don't have to throw nearly as much. I don't think it's as much as priority as it, should be, I think, as an infielder compared to like pitchers. Obviously it's what you're doing. But like, and then as soon as you get to spring training, you're throwing 1,000 balls across the diamond.
Yep.
You're getting mass ground balls. You got early work. And then like, you're like waking up, you're like, damn, why is my arm sore shit? And then it's like, oh, maybe because I don't know.
Isn't position players in the offseason, aren't you guys more kind of like the only time you're really throwing is if you're taking ground balls? Like you're not like if you're not taking grounders, you're probably not playing catch that day.
So that's what I've tried to play catch a lot more. Just I want my arm moving. I don't want it to be an issue when I get to spring training. And I want to just, especially this year, I want to just be game ready as soon as I step in the facility.
Yeah, I feel like for like you and me, it's different than it is kind of for Hap, where like not that Hap doesn't come in ready, but you know what I mean? Like
100%.
Hap can kind of feel his way into it. And for you, it's kind of like, well, I'm trying to earn a spot here. Like I got to come in ready to go.
No, yeah, absolutely. And then on the hitting side, just trying to find something that I can repeat and knowing going in there where, if I don't get 5 hits in my first at bat, I can still kind of ride it out, and be confident moving forward, obviously. And then again, like kind of game ready. So I think I'm going to get some live ABs going in before spring, and then we'll see from there.
If there's anything that 2020 taught me, and then again, last year coming off an elbow and like working through spring, but not being like, I didn't play in the first few games. I DH'd, like I was still getting to 100% at the start of the season. Like it was a very freeing experience for sure. But the, the fact that I just need to feel like I'm ready to go right when the season starts, not necessarily like when I get to camp. And it's definitely a nice place to be in, a luxury, but that for me definitely changed my mindset of like how I go through the off season. And 2020, similar to last spring, like I kind of stunk in the summer, and it really didn't click for me until like maybe 3, 4, 5 days before we actually started the season. And I felt I specifically remember us playing the Twins and in one of those exhibition games, and like squaring up a couple balls and being like, all right, I got it. And then obviously I got off to a hot start that year. And then same thing in 22, was coming back from the elbow, kind of struggling, not feeling great during spring, and just kind of being like, all right, I just have to make a couple swings that feel good. That's it. And staying with the process. And then kind of right before we broke, nutted a couple balls against the White Sox and was like, all right, here we go. And having that like kind of faith, that it's gonna feel right, and just keep doing the right as the cage sessions.
I was gonna say it's tough. It's tough for me because I have never gone into spring. I mean, it's tough. Like again, I'm not somebody who likes to get off-season live ABs just because you don't know what can happen. It's just like I've never gotten out to like a hot start in spring.
Yeah.
And, it's hard. It's fucking really, you haven't seen a live AB. And like, I understand the whole winter ball thing. Like guys like, yeah, I like to go play winter ball, but it's just like, I don't know. But like, if you, like you said, if you nut a few balls right away, you're just like, dude, this is it. Stay with it. Stay with it.
Well, I also like my couple of my best camps, like 17, I had a really good camp, but then I went to 3A. 2018, before the season, like I had an unbelievable camp. Like I raked. I absolutely raked. And then I started the season off with a homer, and then I stunk. It was horrible for like a month and a half. And then same thing in 2021. Like I had a great camp in 21. I hit some doubles righty, hit some balls hard. Lefty was kind of raking homers. And then like I stunk. It was horrible. So like
It's so weird how that works out too.
Yeah,
So
like
weird.
It doesn't matter. And
Right.
like it is different. Like when I was younger, especially I was really trying to like, oh, if I hit 380 in camp, like I'm gonna play every day now. It's like it's not necessarily true. And you can only make so much of an impression. And like now I'm lucky enough to kind of be penciled in there to start the season. So it's not something I have to worry about. But one of my off-season focuses is just so much more on my body now than on like swing mechanics. And like what I want to do with my eyes, with my body, and like where I want to be physically coming into the season, like addressing some stuff that maybe I think were issues in the past. Or the one thing I'm doing this offseason is bat speed training. I am doing some of that, starting to ramp that up, kind of feeling what that's like. And it's been a pretty interesting thing. And that's something that'll kind of like carry through this month and then through February. But like for me, my off season, I guess, doesn't really end until like the end of February. Like all of my workout phases and even like the way I'm looking at my arm ramp up and my swinging progression for bat speed training is all like through February. Because I know like even once March 1st hits, I got, probably 20 games, call it 50 at bats and, a full month to be ready for whatever that opening day is, March 28th, 29th. So I'm lucky that I get to look at it in a little bit of a different way.
That's what I was going to say. It's probably nice to go into spring being like, not like I have a spot, but obviously you have a spot. Like you were just all starting to Gold Glover, but it's like, if you go in and you go, knock on wood, hopefully you don't, say you go 0 for 10, it's like, shit, this sucks, but we're all right. Like got plenty of time to figure it out. You know what I mean? And in years past, it's like, shit, like I'm going to get cut. Like they're not going to keep me on the team. Like I'm struggling right now. But this year it's like, all right, like I can just go kind of feel it out and work on some stuff and get ready for opening day versus first day of spring.
Sorry, you hear really cool stories about guys like that. Like Joey Votto is somebody who is, notorious for like, there's one year he said he was in a game where he was like, I'm going to try to hit 4 balls over the opposite dugout today and walk out of this game like I just hit 4 homers. Like that's sick. But somebody like me, I don't have the luxury of doing that. Where I think you earn, it's not you think, where these guys earn that. Like you said, you earn that extra month of not relaxing and trying to like coast through it, but it's like, yeah, I can take my process day by day and say, hey, Rossi, I'm going to strike out 4 times today, but I'm going to do it in a way that I want to do it. Like if I go up to AJ and say, hey, AJ, I'm going to punch a few times today. Is that cool? Like I'm going to work on something. He's like, yeah,
enjoy minor league camp.
Yeah, we'll see you on field 14. Yeah,
and I mean the only time, like the times that I get frustrated, like in spring, like if I'm swinging through heaters. Where like I think I'm right on time and I'm whiffing, like that's like a no for me. That means something's messed up. But like I have time to fix the stuff. Because like it doesn't matter how much work you do in the off season. When you come into camp, everything feels different. Swing feels weird or off or timing's off, and like you have to find those things over the first couple of weeks. So like I guess I know now the things that when they pop up, it's like, oop, this is a little bit of a red flag. Let's fix this quick. And the stuff that's like, all right, I'm close. Like I'm right there. It hasn't clicked yet, but I'm close. And so those are, kind of. And like last year, I really understood it because I was coming back from the elbow and like I was playing left field, but it was like, if you throw a ball to the cutoff man, we're going to come out and tackle you. It was like, if you even attempt to hit the cutoff man in the air, like someone's going to come fight you. And like, so I understand, like if I go out there and like there's a ball in the gap, like obviously I'm run hard and get it, but like I don't have to rip my shoulder off to like try to get somebody out in a spring training game. Yeah. Like that's a pretty freeing just like mindset to be in.
For sure.
Before we get into what's happening in baseball right now, we need to talk about the NFL playoff picture and DraftKings. You guys want to talk about football real quick? You want to talk about football? You want to talk about DraftKings?
I always
official sports betting partner of the NFL.
Ian, I don't know if you know this, both their teams, probably the 2 best teams that didn't make the playoffs are the Lions and the Jets. So it's a tough day on this podcast.
The Jets, if you asked me that 5, 6, 7 weeks ago, yes, but not anymore.
I was gonna say I don't know about the Jets anymore.
It's all right. It's all right, guys. We haven't a little tough go on the football stuff. We're struggling.
Hey, Lions.
You know
Lions
what?
played with fucking heart.
Big deal for the Bears. First overall pick. Nice job, Bears. Hi, babe. Okay, well, let's talk about DraftKings. You guys don't want to talk about it, I'll talk about it. Wild card round action, DraftKings Sportsbook, kicking off the road to the Super Bowl, Super Bowl 57. Did you guys know Super Bowl 57? New customers.
It's crazy you think about football. Is it what?
I'm trying to get to his ad read. You're interrupting me talking about football. What do you want to talk about? You want to talk about football now?
Yeah. Did you ask?
Okay.
Did you guys know
talk about
Super Bowl
football? Then I'll get back to the ad read.
You know what? Go to the ad. Go to the ad.
Okay. $5 and get 200 in free bets instantly. All new and existing customers can get a no sweat bet each day of the wild card round this weekend. Dakota, no sweat bet? No sweat bet?
Yes, please.
You get free bet your choice. And if it loses, you'll get a free bet back up to $10. Action so good. Why bet NFL playoffs anywhere else? Download DraftKings Sportsbook app. Code compound. New customers can bet $5 on the NFL. Get 200 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code compound.
Ian, again, that's code compound at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See the show notes for more details.